Welcome to Your Family Dog, a podcast dedicated to helping families love living with dogs.
Hi, welcome back to Your Family Dog. I'm Julie Fudge Smith, and I'm here with the fabulous Tina Spring. And today, we are talking about gifts for the dog for upcoming, well, as we put it, this is our Festivus gift guide. So if you celebrate Festivus or Christmas or Kwanzaa or Ramadan or Hanukkah or Festivus, we got your back. So what we'd like to do is talk about a variety of things that has worked for us, for our dogs. Some are going to be fairly inexpensive and creative. Others may cost you a little bit, but we're trying to give you a multitude. Is
that like a multi-poodle?
Yes, I think there's many poodles at once. Yes. A multi-poo. It's many different kinds of poodles in one. So what I wanted to do is talk about some of the things that I have done and some ideas I've come up with that might provide easy gifts for you to give to your dog or for your kids to create for your dog for whatever holidays coming up. Do you, Tina, have a favorite thing that you like to do for your dogs as a special treat that they could be used on the Festivus morning?
So I am always gonna, like, if you contact me and say we're getting a new dog or we're pregnant or our mother-in-law is moving in or whatever it's going to be, my go-to right now is water buffalo horn. They're pretty inexpensive. It's my understanding this could be total poppycock, but I have been informed that water buffaloes shed their horn. It's keratin, so it's softer, so we're not seeing dental issues, and it's not used commercially for something else except, I think, making gelatin. So they're not expensive. They're really durable. They're not hooves that smell like what hooves walk around in.
Where does one find a water buffalo horn?
Well, I don't know that we're allowed. Am I allowed to say store names?
Sure, why not?
They're available at some local retailers. You could also, of course, order them online.
Yes, and we do mention stores, and we mention websites
So you could. It's my understanding Tractor Supply Company typically carries them.
I love Tractor Supply. In fact, I did a whole episode almost on Tractor Supply. I love Tractor Supply. Colleen's like, wow, okay, Julie. But
that's where I got my work outside in the winter plum-colored coveralls for dog training. So I look like a giant raspberry. It's fantastic. Anyway,
raspberry or eggplant?
Oh yeah, probably closer to eggplant. So they're insulated. They're fantastic. I can be warm when everyone else is cold. So so Tractor Supply often has water buffalo horn. I have heard it said that the great and mystical Target occasionally has it. I typically order mine from the great Amazon. And I usually buy US ones, though I've been told It doesn't matter. I'm just kind of pro-US. Sorry.
I am too, but I am for a variety of reasons, is because I don't like to bring things that have been processed in from other countries because I don't trust their processing skills. Yeah. So I just tend to stick towards, my big question is, are water buffalo horns appropriate for puppies as well as adult dogs?
Yeah, and one of the really beautiful things is, for example, a lot of the old-time dog trainer chew stuff, when you give it to a dog, they're like, what's this? I don't know what to do with this. Like, if you're giving them, so I love nylabones. Like, it's like a nylabone dinosaur grave here in my house. Like, there's probably 30 nylabones in our house. I'm not anti-nylabone. That being said, lots of dogs, when you give them the first one, they're like, okay, how is this different than all the other plastic I'm not allowed to chew on? Right? So my dogs pretty typically volunteer. They fall on their swords to start a nylabone for a dog who doesn't know what to do with a brand new nylabone, right? So I've not had that with the water buffalo horn. Like my experience of dogs light up and go woohoo. This is prey that I can chew on. Um, they can stink a little bit. Typically for the dogs that are like big time super power chewers who throw stuff into their molars and kind of get it all slobbery and gross. But yeah, like I mean, you could throw them in the dishwasher. They get soft when they dry. They harden up again. You can stuff them. I'm not hearing from local vets that they're seeing a bunch of dental issues with them. They're relatively inexpensive. They're pretty durable. They come in a variety of sizes. So for our dogs, I mean, our dogs go everything from 6 pounds to 65 pounds. Everybody plays with the same water buffalo horns.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, they're pretty fantastic. They're pretty fantastic. And dogs are super excited about a new one. So for, your Festivus celebration, they're in our household anyway, they're not so high value that I have to worry that there's going to be a problem. Now, I will say brand new water buffalo horns in our house typically happen in crates because I have dogs who don't resource guard from people, but will from one another.
Right.
And, a brand new water buffalo horn is much sought after. But I like that it's not all the chemical-y stuff, that it's not, the horrors of any variety of chewy stuff that are out there in the dog noshing world. And again, not knocking any of the other products. Like we have a bajillion Nylabones. My dogs love those too. But when you ask me like, okay, what's your Mac Daddy favorite? Yeah, it's water buffalo horns.
The other one I like I like Himalayan yak milk chews as well.
Yeah.
Have
you had any dogs have upset stomach with those? I haven't.
No. I haven't either, but I could understand where they are. The thing that I like about the Himalayan yak milk chews is that when they get some what?
It's saying it.
It's saying
able to say Himalayan yak milk.
But when they get small, you can stick them in the microwave and heat them up, and they expand. So
Wait,
you get this
what?
Yes, with some of these yak milk chews, when they chew them down to the point they're like the size of, I don't know, a ping pong ball. If you put them in the microwave, they expand back out. Now
I don't have a microwave, but this might be a reason to get one.
What? Yes, so they can grow back again. So
holy guacamole, Batman!
Yeah,
you're kidding me.
Oh,
so
they expand. They puff up and they expand. Now they're not as dense that way.
Listeners, I think we need video.
All right. Next, in fact, I just got a Himalayan dog chew in the last Bark Box. We haven't opened it yet. Up. So yeah.
I think as Zuzu works on it, I would like to see you video this and put it on the Facebook page. Because seriously, I had no idea. Is that true? Like, is it a universally like forever like the Infinity Yak Chew? You only have to buy one, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
No, eventually they will chew up the whole thing. But it's when it gets down to a size where I feel like she could like maybe choke on it, like I said, about the size of a ping pong ball or a little bit bigger.
Totally throw it away.
Right. You just stick it in the microwave for, I don't remember how long I do this. Maybe I start with 30 seconds and then we kind of play with it. It's almost as much fun as putting a peep in the microwave. Have you ever done that? Put a marshmallow peep?
I don't have a microwave. Stop torturing me.
Okay. Not that I do. Oh, it's so cool. They like expand and expand and expand and expand, and then they just go. Ah! Anyway, it's great. You got to put a peep in the microwave at some point.
So then, do they melt? Like, do they like?
I'm melting. Well, they expand like crazy, and then they kind of like, I don't know. Anyway, they burn. Anyway, so my peeps in the microwave are my favorite.
I say Colleen totally got that we are one another's kind of nut job.
Yeah,
like she understood chemistry. All right.
But
don't
I do not recommend putting peeps in the microwave and giving them to your dog. Do not put a peep in the microwave and give it to your dog. This is purely for adult entertainment. Okay?
Yes, and if someone doesn't like peeps, I do. So just like if you have peeps laying around, I actually like them stale. So when I buy Peeps, I stab the box and make them go stale before I
See, I'm
eat
not
them. I'm
wild
a
about
weirdo.
Peeps, but I like to microwave them. Anyway, that is not on the dog gift guide, though.
Okay.
So let us go back to the dog gift guide. So we have water buffalo horns and Himalayan yak milk chews, which you can then microwave and they expand. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do that with every single Himalayan micro with yak chew, but I've done it with the ones that I've gotten, and it's worked pretty well.
Okay. So,
but they are pricey. They're a little bit pricey. I have to say.
They are.
They are. They're a little bit expensive. So
now let me talk about something that I would say is a couple of things maybe that are awesome gifts for the owners of the dogs that make having a dog like easier, more awesome, whatever. So I'm gonna call it. So I have had a lot of seat covers. Currently I finally splurged, and I kind of was like, okay, a seat cover in the car or a hammock in the car is a hammock in the car. Yeah, no, they're not. They're not all the same. Like I have one that I absolutely adore right now. So I went from having an SUV where dogs could ride in crates to a sedan that's not working. So crates don't fit. And so I finally got one of those hammocky things, and I bought a cheap one, and it was all right. Like it was okay. But there were some things about I didn't like. And so I finally bit the bullet and ordered mine from 4 Canines. I totally dig it. Comes in a bunch of different colors, crazy durable, super adjustable. I can use it as a hammock, or I can flip it down. So like if I'm out doing stuff and somebody needs a ride, super easy to pull the seatbelts through and put the hammocky bit down, and the person can just ride in the car. Like I love it. And I never saw the allure of these. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's fluid proof. So if I'm transporting a dog who maybe gets sick, or a dog that's unstable on their feet, like it keeps them from flying around if I'm driving like a lunatic. I just love it. I love it.
Great.
So I have, and I do, to be completely forthright, they do ask me to write an occasional blog for them, but I did not, like, I didn't get a free one. Like I purchased it, and I would purchase it again. And it was a little pricey. I'm kind of cheap, but I love it. It has made transporting my dogs in the car much less furry.
Great. Well, you know what we're going to do with all of these things is we are going to list them on the website.
Fantastic.
And with links to how to connect to these things. Except for the next few ones, which basically require that you have a box. So, and I think that you can probably find your own box. I know that I have a lot of boxes because I get Amazon deliveries. So Amazon boxes, hang on to those for your holiday gift giving, because there's lots of things you can do with an Amazon box of various sizes, depending on the size of your dog. One of the things that I did for Christmas one year was I went to our local tennis coach. So we have a small university here in town, and I got to know the tennis coach, and I got a bunch of his old tennis balls. Now, find a local tennis coach at your local high school or college or tennis club, or you can find tennis balls on eBay. I've actually bought them on used tennis balls on eBay. It's the shipping that really kills you on tennis balls on eBay. But we had 2 retrievers and I don't know what we called our Confederate trenching setter at the time. And so I prepared 2 boxes for the retrievers for Christmas morning. Each box had 100 tennis balls in it. And then I got a box of each one of their favorite treats and distributed the treats within the tennis balls and then loosely wrapped them up. And so they gave those to the retrievers on Christmas morning, and they were happy the entire day. It's like they opened the box and they're like, "Are you joking? Are you kidding? Did you see this? There's 100 tennis balls in here." So by the end of the day, we had 200 tennis balls around the living room. But they were happy, happy dogs all day long. So if your dog's not a tennis ball kind of dog, then whatever toy it is that your dog really loves, one of the things I've also done is I've taken Zuzus or Bingleys or whatever toys it is, some of their soft toys, and have washed them and put them away. And so once they're washed, it's kind of like a reset on this toy. And I will put them in a laundry basket and then let her pick 2 or 3 out. And then I put the laundry basket up. And then maybe I will put them in a box with some treats or a couple of soft toys, a couple of tennis balls, maybe a cuz, a few treats, wrap that up. And it's yet another thing to discover. Or one of the things I've done, and Zuzu sort of taught me this just yesterday, she had 2 tennis balls in the bottom of, I keep some of her current toys in a small laundry basket. And there were 2 tennis balls at the bottom of the laundry basket, which apparently she wanted. So she went over and she was very carefully taking each of the soft toys out of the laundry basket to get to the tennis balls. Well, she looked up and she saw a tennis ball in the living room, so she ran and got that one instead. But that gave me the idea of what you could do for another gift would be to take a box, put one of your dog's favorite toys, either buy a new one of it, maybe a water buffalo horn, in the bottom of the box, stuff it full of tissue paper, right? And then give it to the dog. Well, now we have to sort through all this fun, crinkly tissue paper to get to the toy at the bottom of the box. So I want you to think in terms of what do we have that we can either clean up and recycle and put into a box, or what are some of the things that I can do to make it interesting to get to the toy that my dog really loves in the bottom of the box. And that's something that would be great for kids to do, to be able to do for their dog for Christmas. Or take a small box, save your toilet paper tubes, line them up vertically in the toilet in the box till they sort of create, it'll look like a honeycomb. Put treats inside the box or inside each of the toilet paper tubes or some of the toilet paper tubes. Wrap that up. That's another great gift, something that kids could make for their dogs for Christmas or Hanukkah or Ramadan. I don't know if you give dogs presents during Ramadan or Festivus, but when your dog needs a gift, that's one that your child can create for his dog without it costing a whole lot of money. So, you got any other ideas along that line, Tina?
So, I mean, I'm a big one for save up leftovers, right? And stuffed Kongs. I think that enrichment, especially the holidays, are a time where often being able to just get the dog out of the crazy, out of the way, out from underfoot, out from, the temptation of the turkey on the counter resting, or kids that are overwrought and overtired, or your drunk Uncle Lewis, like whatever. So I'm a big one. I personally think, I know Colleen, you told me, believes all dogs need 7 Kongs. I've always said 6. But
no, Colleen has 8. She has 8 Kongs.
Think I would tend to agree, right? So,
which is a great gift for an expectant mother.
I think Kongs are one of the most unutilized, creative, fun, amazing toys you could come up with. So Karen Dietz, who I actually just texted to say, hey, we want you to be on the podcast at some point. She showed me how to bungee cord a Kong stuffed so that you can hang it. She was doing this enrichment for shelters, right? But to hang the Kong kind of through a run off a PVC pipe so that it's kind of like a Kong piñata, right? You're not worried about the dog, right? Like take their feet out of the mix. So now they've got to really work at it. And I actually put video up of this on Face Space of Marco. So my 2 pot cake, both are pretty like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about the neighborhood deer. The neighborhood deer make an appearance in almost every podcast I do because they're like today they crossed in front of the front door while I was working with the Yorkie puppy. So Marco did not care about the deer quite literally running along the fence line because he was chewing on this stuffed Kong. And it was just like it was plain Greek yogurt and his normal kibble frozen in this Kong. That's it. And right. Hanging on a bungee so that it moves funny. And you could watch his brain battle back and forth, like bark at the deer or chew on the Kong. The Kong kept him busy for like an hour and 15 minutes. It was amazing.
Right. And
right, like super happy dog. And we had no barking. We had no running up and down the fence line, losing our marbles, having big arousal dumps. Like he just could chill out. The other day, I had something going on here at the house, and I didn't bungee cord, that's a lie. I tied Kongs to the front door of all the crates so that, again, it's elevated a little bit. It's a little bit different. Stuffed frozen, tied to the crate door.
How did you tie
to a crate window? I used parachute cord, and I tied it short enough that there was no way the dog could get any part of their body between, like, it was lashed as tight as I could make it.
So you run the cord all the way through the Kong so it comes out both ends, and then you tie it on? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the one I did that's hanging outside, I used the bungee cords that have, I don't know what they're called, that have the plastic knot on the end.
Okay.
All Kongs, as near as I can tell, have the same size bottom hole, and that thing fits in there. So I used a pair of hemostats. For those of you who don't have hemostats, it's fine. Like, just go use needle nose pliers. You know what your husband will know what those look like. So I just pulled it up through and then stuffed the Kongs normal. I just ran it all through the dishwasher when we were done.
Okay.
Top rack only, right? But
that's right.
But totally made this thing that my dogs have played with a bajillion times and are like, pshaw, it's a Kong. If you need it to take more time, freeze a bully stick in the end, or freeze a catfish skin, one of those beams. So it's like a little bit of a fuse so that you get the dog going on it. I mean,
all right, so if I have to make a video
stuffing
of the Himalaya yak chew, right? Yak milk chew being microwaved, you need to make a video we can post of how you hang a Kong on a bungee.
Ha! I already have it. I'll just share it to the page.
All right. Well, very good.
So there. Because, I really love all the creative, so for example, lots of people have dogs that bark in the backyard. So how do we classically condition, as busy families, the dog being quiet in the backyard? Well, this kind of enrichment stuff is magic. Like, it's fantastic, right? The kids can help with it. You could do the setup. You send the dog out, and you can switch up what you're doing. I love it. Not just for the holidays, just for life. But the holidays are a great time where we're buying stuff anyway.
Right. Well, the other thing is it's great.
When you have a baby shower, add Kongs to your baby shower list.
Right. Well, that brings up two things. Is that one is not only is it great during the holidays because it can keep your dog active and happy while you and your family are trying to open gifts. So it can be a nice way to manage a dog so that you don't feel guilty about just leaving him in his crate or whatever. He's actually got something to do that he really enjoys. So that can be your gift to your dog, is something for you on Christmas morning that makes you really happy. Then the other thing I was going to say about if you have to go to a baby shower and she has a dog, I got this idea from Colleen, is make sure you understand if the dog has any food allergies. This is pretty critical. But stuff 7 or 8 Kongs and take them in a cooler frozen to give to her.
Nice.
To use as, the first week home. And I think that's really nice. And that's not an inexpensive gift.
Or really anyone. I mean, if somebody's having a knee replacement, if somebody has a death in the family, I just think there are all sorts of cool ways that we can bless the world. Now, I did have a family that she was like, my dog won't really play with Kongs, so she bought, I thought this was brilliant, she just bought a bajillion pack of wax paper cups and stuffed those and stuck them in the freezer. And I was like, you're the smartest woman I've ever met, right? Super, super cheap.
Right.
Right? I mean, you could buy
Dixie
a sleeve
cups.
of cups for, well, so she did big ones, but yeah, you could do Dixie cups. And where the idea came from was she and her kids were making suet cups for the birds. And so she had all these paper cups and she was like, this is like a destroyable Kong.
Yay.
Without it being Kongy. So, if a vet's listening and wants to yell at us about the dogs eating cardboard or paper or whatever, please let us know. But my dogs have never struggled with that. I'm also not giving them 3 pounds of cardboard as a meal or anything. So,
That's right.
My experience is most dogs like tearing things up. Dissecting feels good. So
Hmm.
giving them a safe outlet for that, I always personally think is a win. And you
Hmm.
were talking about the cardboard box and kind of creating what I think is often called an adventure box where, the dog gets to break into it and break things out of it. I lost this video. It's one of the great heartaches of my life. I had this guy who was in a group class with me who had a big lab, who was super stoic the whole class. And I talked about the adventure box and how to build those. And like the guy never cracked, I'm pretty funny. The guy never cracked a smile through the whole session. I thought for sure he hated me. I was going to get my first like half-star review. And he sent me video, which I have since lost. It was on a phone that landed in a puddle. But he made with a sawhorse. He basically made a giant cardboard deer in the backyard for his dog. He put like branches as antlers. He had a little red box as the nose. And you have never seen such a happy Labrador Retriever as this dog who went out and massacred a fake cardboard deer in the backyard. It was like, it was, there was newspaper and tissue paper in it. And so the dog's like running like a gymnast with one of those ribbon things that's, I mean, like a god awful mess and absolutely fantastic. And he included, because he only had one dog, he included one of those, like the grand prize of it all, like in the middle was one of those big meaty butcher bones. And
Okay.
that dog was like in seventh heaven. Now,
I was
if
thinking,
we tried to do that here, like my dogs would kill each other. So don't do it if you have multiple dogs. And don't have kids go, hey, what kind of bone is that? Like that's going to end badly. Those are really high value stuff for dogs. But you could totally put a water buffalo horn in it.
that's right. The other thing you could do is you could actually make it, you could take, I was just, when you were talking, I was thinking, how could you do this? You could easily do this using sticks and paper bags from the grocery store stuffed with, paper or treats or whatever. So you could seal off those paper bags to create the body of the deer and stick some sticks in it for him to stand up and, stick to that. You could do all kinds of really cool things either with boxes or bags or whatever.
This deer was massive. Like there was no sticks holding it up. Like he built it with masking tape around like a big wooden sawhorse. Like it was hysterical. Like he videoed this dog going out and being like, "Oh, Bambi is going down." Like it was some of the funniest stuff. It's like it was a very happy dog.
I bet it was.
It was a happy dog indeed. So yeah, like I think giving us and his whole thing was he didn't want the dog to mess up the kitchen. The adventure box, I was like, "Oh, you could just do this in the kitchen." He's like, "That's going to mess up my kitchen." I was like, okay, well, he's never going to do this for this dog. Best owner in the world, totally love him. I don't even know if he gave me a review, but I know if all he ever changed for his dog was building an adventure box once a month, that was one happy lab.
Absolutely.
So think of it like for Christmas, if you're a Christmas person and you're having all the family over, you could have all 12 reindeer. For Halloween, you could like I don't.
You could do ghosts, you could do skeletons, you could do all kinds of things for Halloween. One of the things, the other thing I want to bring up is I do sew, and I have made fleeces for my kids, so I have leftover fleece. And one of the things that I have found that I like to do with fleece is braid it very tightly and create a loop on each end and create a tug toy for my dogs out of fleece. And so that's something else that is a pretty easy thing to do. And if one of your kids knows how to braid, they can do that. That's another thing. Just make sure that they braid it pretty tightly, because you don't want it to. Braiding it tightly is part of the essential essence of one of those things.
We have snuffle mats and snuffle balls. It's actually right. Snuffle ball is how Marco gets pretty much every meal, and you can make a snuffle ball more difficult. It's fantastic, right? So the first time, to be fair, I was at All for Fun dog training in the Dallas area earlier in the year, And they had these Snuffle balls. And I was like, those are really cute. They're $50. I'm kind of cheap. Am I really going to spend $50 on this? And I'm trying to think. I think they're called what kind of balls are those? The ones that look like lattice. They're like latex.
Oh,
And they're
okay.
lattice
Uh-huh.
balls that you can put other things inside of them. So it's one of those. And then they take lengths of fleece and they tie it around each of the little straight pieces all the way around the ball. So I kept thinking to myself, like, if you put dog food in there, it's just going to fall out. Like, that's dumb. Marco thinks it is the best game ever. And interestingly enough, it lowers his arousal. So he's better able to think. He's kind of my janky kid who's a little bit nutso. Sorry, he's sitting right here next to me getting cuddles while I'm calling him insane. You're a little insane, but I love you. So he beats the tar out of his snuffle ball for 2 meals a day, slinging kibble all over the house. Of course, the other dogs and the cat are put away because he would resource guard the food. But it's like crazy good. Like that combative play has been really good for him. And I learned you can make it more difficult. So, for example, if he chews a piece of the fleece, who cares? I cut another piece of fleece and replace it. But you can actually take it and it goes in the washer and the dryer. God bless America. But you can take the fleece apart, put a piece of kibble in it, tie it in a knot, stuff it through the holes, and make it that the dog has to pull the fleece out, untie the fleece, get their kibble.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
Crazy fascinating.
So can you put a picture of this?
Sure. And we sometimes put like a piece of chicken jerky in that big, huge fleece ball, blows corgi brains to like smithereens. Like they lose their minds. They're like, how am I going to get that out of there? We kept a corgi busy for an hour and a half with a chicken tender, like basically a piece of chicken jerky shoved in a snuffle ball. Fantastic. Best $50 I ever spent. And honestly, like you can make it. Like I'm just lazy.
I was going to say, I bet you could get the lattice ball and the fleece on Amazon and make it very easily. And or go to Joanne Fabrics to their remnants and get, because the dog doesn't care what the fleece looks like. You can get some really ugly fleece, but who cares, because it's a snuffle ball for a dog, right?
So I'm going to shout out. So one of my staff, Annalise Norman, actually makes snuffle mats and snuffle balls. If you are like me and you're lazy and busy and you'd rather just buy it, if you reach out to us, I will put you in touch with Annalise and you can get yourself a snuffle ball.
All right. Well, we will put that link. We'll put that link on the website as well. So all these things will have links that you can look at, and so you can contact Tina at Sit Happens about snuffle balls. And the other thing is, I was going to mention that we will put a link to a couple of episodes that Colleen and I did about our favorite things, including bark boxes, which I still get for Zuzu. And the one thing I'll tell you that I love about bark box is they allow you to customize it. So you can customize it for an extra toy, or for a while we were just swimming in toys. I didn't know what to do with all the toys. So when she went to stay with her breeder for the summer, I sent something like 20 toys, and we still had too many. So we switched out her.
One of the things.
Hang on, let me finish. Let me finish. Okay. So one of the things that I did for a few months was I switched it out to just treats, which is why we got the Himalayan yak milk chews, so that we got treats and chewies and all kinds of things like that for a few months when we didn't need to be inundated with toys. So they do allow you to customize it in that way, and that's kind of nice, and you can just switch it out back and forth as need be.
So what were you going to say? I had someone here, one of my local customers, mention it in class. She collects them up and takes them to like Meals on Wheels, the extra toys, and they disperse them to people who are homebound who have pets, or to even local shelters or rescues. So she actually, because they somehow got on the topic of they all have like a million things that they love them, but they're like, who needs this many dog toys or whatever? And so it was crazy good. Like they like inundated the local shelters with like really good stuff. I thought it was a great idea for those
That is
people
a
who are
great
like,
idea.
oh, there's too many.
Well, the other thing I wanted to say about Meals on Wheels is the Ohio State University, they had their veterinary students will go with the on Wheels program and along with the vet in order to provide vet care to senior citizens. But what they were the ones who discovered that what these senior citizens were doing was they were saving their meals and feeding them to their dogs because they couldn't afford dog food. So they were not eating their meals. So when they found out about that, Blue Buffalo stepped in and provides food now for the Meals on Wheels here in Central Ohio, that they will take food to seniors so the seniors can eat their meals and their dogs get pretty good nutrition. So I thought that was a really cool thing too.
The local shelter that I was president of their board of directors forever, this was not my idea. This was their idea, but it's a wonderful one, is they do a food bowl program. So the same thing. They send some with Meals on Wheels, our local Meals on Wheels chapter. But anyone at any time can pretty much reach out to them and say, hey, I need food for my animals. And you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to beg. They just joyfully bless families to keep animals in homes because, everybody at some point has a little bit of a struggle, and we don't want people to give up animals just because, maybe they're between jobs for a couple of months or they have some big financial setback. So,
which is another reason why I wanted to bring up some of these lesser expensive or, easy things that you can create for your dog so that if you're in a situation where, it's going to be a little bit of we all have lean years. And if this is a lean year for you, doesn't mean that you can't be creative or your kids can't feel like they're giving something to their dog. So we're going to try and, so the idea here is think in terms of, boxes. You can get one from the grocery store, or your Amazon boxes, or your toilet paper tubes, or your paper towel tubes. And, what can I do with those?
Plastic bottles, right? Rinse them out, take all the plastic off of them, put kibble in, let your dog knock it around.
Mr. Parmesan was one of my favorite food distribution toys that a client of mine came up with. They took one of those Parmesan jars, right? Took the label off, sealed off. I don't remember how they did it. Maybe just a little bit of tape or I think duct tape or something to seal off the big end. And then they took off the part that, that has the 3 holes so you can shake it.
Right.
They took the flap off of that, unscrewed it, put kibble in there, gave it to their doodle. And it made this great crunching noise, and they called it Mr. Parmesan. And it was one of the best food distribution toys. And then when it got too crunched, well, they just threw it out, and we got a new Mr. Parmesan.
We had a lot of spaghetti that year.
They did. They did. But I love the Mr. Parmesan. I thought that was a really creative gift. And that's another one that kids could easily do. They can make that for you. So I'm trying to think of things that are not only easy and fun for you, but something that your kids can do and feel like they're doing something creative for their dog.
Yeah, like even as simple as toilet paper tubes. Like you can augment that and make that different and creative and variable for your dog. Like crinkle up paper, put a little in one end, put kibble in the middle, put a little bit of paper on the other end, and cinch the ends or twist the ends.
Right.
So there's just a little bit more challenge to it.
You could even put fleece through it.
Right.
And then you could knot the fleece in the center with a Troy or a treat, right? Put that through and cinch it. So now we've got to pull that out of the toilet paper tube. So, just really simple things. Think about how can dogs manipulate. Now, it wouldn't work as well for Zuzu, who just I can't manipulate anything because it's hard. So I'd have to make it pretty easy for her. But for other dogs, and I remember one time I had when we had our burner and our golden and our flat coat, and I had a Buster cube, which is basically like it sounds. It's a cube, and you put food in it, and you shake it around, and the dogs roll it around, and the food comes out randomly. The best thing was Bingley loved to do it. He just loved to roll it. He didn't particularly care about the kibble. So he just liked to do it. And so the other 2 dogs would follow behind him and eat the kibble as he did the Buster cube. So I had like a 3-fer. It was just great because Bingley would do it and the other dogs would just follow behind. But if your dog's resource guard, that's not something you should do. I'm just saying that it worked well for my 3 dogs, but it doesn't always work well for others. So anything else you want to...
My Doberman was hysterical about the Buster cube. He's since passed away, but we played with it exactly once. He picked it up. He tried to manipulate it and play with it. It was too difficult. He thought, I'll just solve this problem. Picked it up, put it in the back of his mouth, crunched it on the seam, broke it open. I got to see how a Buster Cube was made, and $35 worth of toy was destroyed. So there is a little bit of all of this bears mentioning, like matching the degree of difficulty for the dog, right? Like
Right.
if we give a child a toy that frustrates them, we can actually kind of end their joy of something, right? Putting
Right.
too much pressure on them. I mean, like when I teach dogs how to play with a Kong, right? I put loose kibble in so that if the dog looks at it, kibble falls out, and then slowly add degree of difficulty so that
Absolutely.
the dog feels super successful. For the dog who's like, well, I know how to knock it around, but I don't know how to lick, right? Then it's okay. Here's a little bit of licky stuff sticking out. So, you know, like freezing a bully stick sticking out of it, so they have something to chew that leads down to the Kong that teaches them how to snorkel, a highly technical term, on the Kong. So Facebook has a ton of enrichment pages.
Okay.
They're really fantastic, and you can get really good ideas. And I know I try to put enrichment stuff on. I'll try to make sure I share that to the Facebook page when I do it. And I'll shoot this video for you. Challenge accepted.
Okay.
And I may actually make a, like, how I put it together and how I did it, in addition to the video of the crazy pot cake utilizing it. So.
Okay. That would be great. That would be great. And you said you already had that one. You already had that video.
I have the video of him playing with it.
Okay.
But I can totally either do another dog or do it with him again.
Okay.
And also include like how to put it together for the people who are like, how do we do this? That'd be great. The first time they're trying to do it. I want to personally invite families, talk to us about what enrichment works great for you. Like, please. This is a way to help your fellow man, like what to do with the dog when you don't know what to do with the dog.
That's right. Then we would love to have you do that. So you can contact us through our Facebook page, Your Family Dog Podcast, or you can go to our webpage, yourfamilydogpodcast.com, and contact us through feedback@yourfamilydogpodcast.com. So thank you, Tina. It was a great episode, and we hope that we've given you some ideas on things that you can do to help your dog through the holidays, as well as just some everyday enrichment. So we do want to see pictures of all those deer that you people are going to be building now for your dogs in the backyard. So pictures are part of what we want to see. All those videos of the 12, or, you know, you could even do something like, 12 dwarfs.
You can do all
the 7 dwarfs, right?
You can build a snowman.
That's right.
Here in the South, we can build cardboard snowmen. So give us a like, give us a share, like us, rate us on iTunes.
We will see you all next time on Your Family Dog.
Thanks for listening to Your Family Dog. Got questions? Interesting ideas? Visit www.yourfamilydogpodcast.com to share your thoughts.